So this weekend was the first organized with Bernie event, and there were over 4,700 events, not just nationally, but globally. I mean, wow. I mean, I saw on Bernie's Instagram that there were like 30 countries on top of the United States who got involved and did organize with Bernie this weekend. And I gotta tell you, so I did a search for the hashtag organize with Bernie on Twitter, and I just like looking at all the group pictures and the videos. I mean, it was so awesome, like seeing these people in their living rooms, in their backyards, at restaurants, at schools, the campuses, and all these, just so much joy and so much passion and people full of purpose, and it was, and all the swag, the Bernie stuff, and I was just like, it's really happening, it's happening, oh my god, like like I'm getting emotional just thinking about it again, because I mean, wow. So, bravo to all of you who hosted and organized and went. Like, thank you. But we, like, the Not Me Us, really demonstrated why Bernie Sanders and us are the front runners, because there is no other candidate that is even close to having, like, that level of organization and mobilizing of everyday, like, working Americans. And so the point of this video that I want to make is about the most important thing, that this is the thing, that this is how Bernie Sanders is going to win not only the primary but become the next president. Like, this is more important than the polls and the amount of money, okay? Which are important things, but this, in this new season of elections that we've seen, particularly because we've learned from 2016, a lot has changed now in elections. This one thing is very important, and we need to focus on this more than anything, and that is the ground game, okay? That is the level of getting face-to-face human interaction with voters, like knocking on doors, doing farmers markets, talking to people at the coffee shop or while you're grocery shopping, at family events, like getting contact, human contact, talking to people face to face. Because, I mean, ads and social media and stuff like that is good, but when you're actually talking to a real human being, it makes a more personal connection. And again, at the end of the day, like, we as humans, we appreciate, like, that contact, right? And I think with social media, we're also getting less of that. So when we actually talk to a real person, it's like, ooh, real human being, right? And you're getting data and you're listening to their point of view. And even if you don't convince somebody, you're planting the seeds. You're planting seeds. You're introducing new ideas that maybe they hadn't thought about, or maybe somebody else mentioned to them, and then they're like, oh, I heard that somewhere else before, right? I mean, the more people that hear about, Bernie's platform and his policies, the more, like, and they start hearing it from, again, their family and friends, their circles, it becomes more impactful than just relying on TV ads and Google ads and things like that, right? So ground game is everything. And we've seen, so there are actual studies that have shown that when more elections are won, when there's higher levels of face-to-face contact with voters, and we actually don't need scientific data, like, to know that, because we actually have two very big examples, okay? So in 2016, we have Michigan, okay? The polls had Hillary winning Michigan by over 90%, right? She had way more money, mostly from super PACs. So she had the money, she had the polls, she had establishment media all behind her. And yet, here comes Bernie Sanders and wins Michigan. Why? Why did he win Michigan? It was the massive grassroots effort at the ground level. The ground game for the Bernie people was on. They hit it. They mobilized and gone out in mass. And, kudos to you in Michigan. we need you to do it again in 2020. And all the other, states that could go either way. The second example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? She was going up against the number 4 guy in the House. He had way more money, way more, name recognition, the establishment behind him, and she won. Same reason, massive ground game. Every day, going out, talking to people face to face, talking about the issues, talking about what, she's going to do to help make their lives better and to listen to them. So, ground game. Ground game is everything. And that is the one thing that we have in our advantage. Because again, as you saw yesterday, 4,700 parties. Now, here's the one piece of data that just blew me away, okay? And especially because it was California, like where I'm at. And this is important, right? Because now California, we moved up our primary, and it's on Super Tuesday. And Super Tuesday is really going to decide. I mean, it will, this like 20 candidates now, it'll narrow down to 2 to 3 right after Super Tuesday. So there were 839 organized with Bernie events alone in California. And I was like, what? 800? So I'm just doing some simple math in my head, and I'm thinking, okay, let's just say there's 5 people at each of these events, right? I mean, I know like LA and San Francisco had some pretty big events, but let's just say it's 5, right? Let's just be conservative and say 5 people. So that's like 4,195 people, supporters, like getting trained and planning on how to mobilize, okay? That's a lot. Okay, so California has 20 million eligible voters, which is about 79% of total eligible voters, right? So we can actually go help raise the number and get more people registered. But we already have, just on this first weekend, over 4,100 supporters ready to mobilize and canvass and hit the streets. I can tell you, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden don't have that. They don't even have near that. So they're going to be relying more on TV ads, radio, and social ads, right? I mean, primarily TV. And TV is a big thing here, but it's extremely expensive, where door-to-door is actually more cost-effective and cheaper for a campaign, because you're just given basic materials for all your canvassers, right? Like clipboard, you have water, like some literature, and you go out there, compared to printing materials and TV commercials, which in California is very expensive. So anyway, we got the ground game going on, and it's massive, and it's impressive, and it's formidable. And so that's the thing we need to focus on, is the ground game, to get as much face-to-face with voters as we can, which is great. So at the kickoff, they also introduced the new app, right? app.berniesanders.com. And that's to help look up voters and for you to build kind of your own little, database of people in your area, voters in your area, right? So it's a great tool to help, again, with the ground game and to help mobilize, get people registered. So we have many tools, which is great. Last time we didn't have an app for this, so now we do this time. Ground game. So ground game is everything. It is our biggest advantage right now. It's something the mainstream media and establishment is not paying attention to, and this actually should be the main factor in determining who is a front runner, not polls and not money raised, which are important. But we've already seen in 2016 and 2018 that ground game can actually like take over that, and we got that going on. All right, so again, let's hit it. Let's do this. It's happening.